the world, and then if you want, what part of your house you are actually tuning in from, because we had a joke earlier that, you know, we're impressed you guys are up and out of bed, and then we decided maybe you aren't. Maybe you aren't. So if you feel like joining us and letting us know where you're coming from, we would love to know that. And yeah, we already have somebody from California. So all of us Georgia people, if you're going to complain about 9 a.m., she's winning at 6 a.m. in Cali. But let us go ahead and begin. Welcome again to Creating Killer Stories, Part 2. If you are just joining us this week and missed Part 1, never fear, we are going to do a recap for you guys on that. But this is a workshop presented by Speakers Roundtable Advanced Toastmasters Club in the wonderful District 44 that I am possibly a little bit biased to say is the best district around. Maybe just a little biased, but that's okay. We love being in this district. We have a wonderful time. I'm Amanda May Gray. I will be your host for today. And to move right along, I want to go over a few quick basics on Zoom with you all. Granted, I am well aware many of you probably are pros at Zoom, even though you didn't necessarily know that 2020 was the year you were going to become a pro on Zoom. Welcome to it. So just quick recap, the mute button is in the bottom left-hand corner. We do ask you remain mute unless you are called upon, or of course, if you are supposed to be speaking, please come off of mute. Key thing here is when you guys do go into breakout rooms, make sure you go off of mute so you can talk with one another. But for the experience of everybody to try to maintain clarity and being able to hear our speakers, please go ahead and make sure you are on mute. Next to that is the Start Stop Video button, which of course, I would love to see everybody's shining, super happy caffeinated faces this morning. But we understand if you do not want to be on camera. I know some people are not as interested in that, and that is okay. You can turn it on and turn it off right there. Next to that is our participants button. That should have little people and then a number that is probably rapidly increasing as I'm speaking about how many people are here with us today. If you click on that, it's going to pull up an entire list of who is in the audience and joining us today. And that also will be used later on when we do our aha moments and our keeper moments to call on people by raising their hand virtually. In the chat box, of course, you can chat with the whole group or you can chat one-on-one with somebody individually. So that is also a good function, and we will be utilizing that as well today. And of course, at the top right-hand side is your speaker view, gallery view. We do recommend that when you are having somebody talk, one of our storytellers or our coaches, please go ahead and put it on speaker view, but you can switch back and forth and see what everybody's up to. I'm a fan of that one. Go next page. There we go. And you should be getting did get a handout for our presentation today, our workshop today. The handout was emailed to you. However, if you did not get it, it will be popped into that chat we were just talking about. And I want to point out that the aha page is the second page. When we say ahas, we mean anything that makes you go, oh, I gotta remember that. The key things, the keepers, the takeaways. We used to call it popcorn food back when we were in person. But unfortunately, we're not in person, so we're calling it ahas today. So the things that you're like, I need to write that down, which is why we have this sheet for you, and keep track of things and remember it for later on. It is proven that when you physically write things down, that you are more apt to remember them. Therefore, if you do not have this or cannot print this out, we highly recommend you just grab a pen and some paper and take your notes that way. All right, moving right along. Today's agenda. So we will be doing a training overview today. Following that, we will do a homework discussion. If you were here last week, you did get homework, and hopefully you've at least considered maybe done that homework, and you'll have a time to discuss that with some other people and go through those notes. After that, we will have two storytellers give us a story, and then that's going to be followed by some questions for you guys to talk about in the breakout room relating to that story. And then that will be followed by some master coaching. That will happen twice. So we will have the first speaker go through the breakout and then the master coaching, and then the second speaker, breakout room and some master coaching on that as well. After all of that happens, we will have those ahas that I was talking about where we want to know what you learned today. And we will be calling on people to come on and give us a 5 to 7 minute, or not minute, oh my gosh, not minute, word, please do not, we only have 5 minutes to do it in. So 5 to 7 minute word, I apologize. Man, I'll get myself in trouble real quick that way. And then we will actually have a closing storyteller, whom I will not ruin just yet, but I will tell you, it is a fantastic storyteller. So I think you should be excited for that. Okay, well, speaking of homework, our lovely Ron was our facilitator, well, one of our trainers last week, and he is going to be going over our homework, which we will pull up in just a minute. But I have a story to tell you guys because my man made me very mad this week, and then it made me think of you guys. I know, you're all like, where are you going with this? I'm gonna tell you. So I got hungry and I wanted a little snack. So I opened up our pantry and there were some wheat thins and I was like, I like wheat thins, who doesn't? And then I opened up our fridge and there was some hummus. And I thought, perfect, hummus and wheat thins is a win. But just below that hummus was a little snack-sized Ziploc bag, and in it was one solo little slice of green pepper. And I thought, well, that's silly. Who put one little piece of green pepper and not just eat it? That'll be perfect with my hummus. Cool. So I take my hummus, I take my single little green pepper, and I dip it in the hummus and I take a bite. And it's like there's a piece of pepper or something, like black ground pepper. And I look at the hummus, I'm like, no, it just says original. Like, what's going on? So I take another bite thinking somebody must have cracked pepper into the hummus. Like, who does that, first of all? And when I take the second bite, it's just like my mouth is on fire. And I'm like, ugh, 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 and I have to spit it out into the sink. I can't even tell you how hot it was. So I yell up to my man, what did you do to the hummus? And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I put the little green pepper in the hummus and now my mouth is on fire. And he's like, you mean the jalapeno? Oh yeah, he made chili and then I ate a little bit of raw jalapeno that he was saving to put in his chili later on. Moral of the story is, don't judge a book by its cover. And I thought after I got mad, man, that's a story I got to write down in my story file because someday that might come in handy. But without further ado, I want to hand this on over to Ron Chapman to go through our homework from last week. Ron?
Thank you, Amanda. That was like the perfect heroine's journey through hot peppers. How about that? We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, I'd like you to close your eyes. Yes, really, close your eyes. And take a deep centering breath. And then a second deep centering breath. Just lightly let go of everything for a moment. And then what I'd like you to do is to scan your history and remember a time when you got outstanding feedback. Remember how it felt. Could have been a coach, could have been a loved one, could have been a friend, could have been a coworker. Remember how it felt. And then if you can, what was it about what they did in giving you that feedback that made it work so very well? Just a few words. What was it they did that made that feedback so effective for you? And then if you will, drop that experience in a few words into the chat box. Like to see how you all have experienced outstanding feedback. So go ahead and use the chat box, just a few words to describe it. What was it about the feedback that made it so effective, so brilliant for you? They took the time to see me. please drop your thoughts in the chat box. What was it? Honest and sincere, specific, made comments clear via a story, purposeful, sincere, and honest. Yeah, Brian came with a promotion. Add to it. I left encouraged, uplifted, detailed observation, eye-opening, excellent. Yeah, so here's why I wanted to start with that. I'm continuing to watch and seeing what's coming up. Gave you confidence, Al. Yeah. I want you to be feedbackers today. I know that's not a word. It's one that we have coined, though, to describe the act of being someone who provides brilliant feedback. Because last week's session was about teaching and training. This week's session is about application and practice, and coaching is a very real element to this. So think like a feedbacker today as I do a little bit of a review. And of course, if you saw something in the chat box you'd like to use for framing your feedbackery today, that would be really great. So if you go to your handout, which again was sent out yesterday by Roxanne and has also been dropped into the chat box multiple times already by Gail. If we go to page 3, where we started last week was with Kelly's excellent foundation for how to build a story, how to generate a story out of your own material. First best place is your own material, which you can imbue with others' material as you see appropriate. Then she took us through the hero's journey or heroine's journey, the classic structure of a quest, an obstacle, resolution, and new wisdom for yourself or for others. So that's the foundation for an effective story, and Kelly taught us how to do that. So think heroic journey. I added to that by talking about first and foremost the needs and wants of the audience. That's the point of a story, is to serve an audience. And we do that by picking an end point, an outcome, a result, an ask. We start with the end in mind. What is the effect I want to have on this audience? Then we pick a starting point and create a trajectory that connects the dots from start to powerful close. So just a quick review: the heroic journey, serve the needs of the audience, connect the dots from beginning to end so the story is effective and powerful. Then Natanya did this brilliant job of helping us see how important dramatic effect is, so that as you think of that trajectory, we want to think about what dramatic effect we can bring to it along the way. Because as she pointed out, and Maya Angelou said so well, people rarely remember what you said or did, but they always remember how you made them feel. And Natanya did this great connection. Yeah, you got to have an outcome for the audience, but you need to think about how you're going to make them feel. Because surprise, surprise, only 7% of the effect of your content is based on the words. And yet we spend so much time on the words. Then John Matthews jumped in and taught us about humor. What I loved about what John did, he told us the brain chemistry. Humor, endorphins, makes us feel good. So when it's punctuated through the course of a story, contrasting with drama and trajectory, it uplifts us and helps us gain the advantages of the story. So we've got this whole idea of heroic journey, starting with the end in mind, trajectory, dramatic content to bring people along. Then we punctuate it with brilliant humor. Any humor, your humor, not right humor, wrong humor, but humor that helps people laugh. So if you will, for a moment, laugh with me. Really, go ahead, laugh, because it's going to get endorphins in your brain and you're going to feel better. And besides that, my mentor told me if I made an ass of myself, I would be far more effective as a speaker. So I've now completed making an ass of myself, and perhaps you have laughed and you feel better for it. Let me close with this. I'm going to take you back to January 1995, when I delivered my very first speech in a Toastmasters setting. And God bless Lance Johnson, who was brilliant in being the feedbacker that day. I know we'd call it an evaluator, but he was a feedbacker. He looked me in the eye and he said, "Ron, you are talented. You got a lot of game, brother. But if you don't stretch yourself, you're going to be wasting your time. So that's my ask of you today, throughout the day, throughout the morning. Stretch yourself, because you too will be better for it. Amanda, it's back to you.
Thank you, Ron. Awesome. So today we are going to send you guys off into breakout rooms so that you can discuss those assignments that you worked on. That is going to be page 13 in your handout. We will also drop these questions in the chat so you guys can get some feedback, kind of collaborate, and have an idea about what it is that we are doing and have done thus far. Additionally, I want to mention that those ahas can be written down on page 11 in your handout as well. I write you guys, but I already have a few. The whole 7% of words. I think I wrote that down last time, but it's just so important to remember that words are important, absolutely. But how you say it and how you make them feel is really the most important thing. So don't forget that. So when we get you guys into breakout rooms, a few things. One, make sure you take yourself off mute. That way you can talk with your fellow breakout roomers. That doesn't work, but that's okay. And then you're going to identify somebody to be the lead person in the breakout room. We give you the idea of using somebody's first name who is at the end of the alphabet. So whoever, which would never be me. It's never me, it's never Al Wiseman. The two of us will never be the last person in the alphabet for our first names, but whoever is, that's who's going to be your leader. And then we're going to have you each go over your homework assignment that you describe the experience. We have assignments on generating stories, audience value, creating drama, and finding the humor. So get through what you can. We're going to give you guys about 15 minutes to work on these things. And if you do have any issues in the breakout rooms, if there's anything going on that's not working for you guys, you are able to ask for help. And we will get that back in the main room, I will call it. So I am going to call on our fabulous Zoom master. You should have about 5 people in your breakout room or so, just depending on how many people we have. And hopefully you guys will get some good value out of this, and we'll call you guys back automatically when the time is up. So we will see you guys on the other side. Yes, if you didn't do your homework, please play along. Pull up questions, try to use your own experiences. Yes, there is homework. Sorry if you missed that from last time. I'd say I even did some homework, you guys. I don't know how great the story is, but someday I'm gonna take that one out of the file and insert it into a speech and be happy that I wrote it down. I think everybody's almost in the breakout rooms. We have just a few people still milling about. And yes, you do need to accept your invitation to go into the breakout room. Ooh. And now we're down to just a few. Please accept your invitation so you can get the full value out of our workshop today. Da-da-da. I think we're, let's see. The names, I think we're doing okay. Welcome back, Rabina. Hi, what's happening? Oh, you look so formal. Oh, yes, I like it. Well, hello. Okay.
Kill me if
No, that's what
you tell
well,
that.
hey, Miss Cheryl. Welcome back to our party. You're looking so chipper this morning, but you're on mute.
Sorry, so glad to be here. Good to see you guys. This is so valuable. You have provided so much value to the people that are here. I mean, this has been incredible. And Amanda, you are killing it as the conductor of the train has left the station. Well done. Woohoo! You get the pom-pom of awesomeness.
I stole it from you.
20 seconds till the room's closed, just so you guys know.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Well, thank you for all those kind words. That's sort of the whole, trying to figure out how to really demonstrate some value. So I'm glad you're seeing it that way.
Thank you,
You did it,
Cheryl.
Ron. You did it. You did it, Gail. Good job.
Yeah, Gail and Amanda have been busting their tails, and
I can tell.
you would not know that from Gail's relative absence, other than the chat box. But she has been behind the scenes.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Welcome, Cindy.
The rest of us just show up and do what's on the agenda, right? We just
No. Stephen, you did a far more than that, including getting a sound baffle in your room, which is huge, man.
And he had a Voltron reference. I mean,
Voltron reference, right?
it was worth it.
I do what I can. I do what I can.
Here they come.
Welcome back, welcome back. Well, hello, Miss Michelle, welcome. And Marie, nice to see you. Ruby's back. Lena's got, wait a second. Lena, what is this virtual background you got going on? It's like you're on stage. Lena's trying to get all fancy on me now. I like it. Welcome back, everybody. Bill's back in his treehouse. I like it. You know, you guys are, do we have everybody back now, Rick?
Yes.
Winning. Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed your breakout session. And if you didn't do the homework, that's okay. I hope you played along and thought about stories that were applicable for you guys. Give me a thumbs up if you thought that was fun, helpful, useful. Yes, I like seeing thumbs up. Woo woo. I feel like we need like some like little signs or something to be on this platform. I don't know. Well, I'll think about that. Like my pom-pom of awesomeness that Cheryl Bonchamino invented. We need more of those so you guys can say, yes, thumbs up. All right, so I don't know about you guys, but I think we should hear a story. And then the cool part is, which no pressure on our storytellers, we're gonna analyze it afterwards. Yay! I know they're gonna be really excited to hear everybody's feedback on all of that. So I will just let you guys know that the story that we're going to be analyzing, the page that goes with it in our handouts is page number 12. I can't find my little page here to show you guys, but that's okay. And our presenter is going to be AC Chan. Let me pull him up for you all so you can see his shining face. I know everybody wants to see that. Oh, well, that figures. Of course, it's going to glitch on me there. There we go. Okay. So if you guys had the chance to shift your lifestyle, what would you do? Chasing job opportunities moved AC around almost every other year in his life. But then in 2007, he relocated back to Atlanta to start a family with the idea that he was only going to be here for a few years. But before he knew it, 10 years had passed. We've all been there, just stuck in our daily routines, realizing, oh my gosh, how much time has gone by? Well, you guys will never believe what AC decided to do to mix things up from there. Please help me welcome AC Chan with Fill Your Treasure Chest Now. AC.
It was New Year's Eve 2016. No fancy New Year's Eve party for us. The kids were in bed, and we were sitting on the couch watching a travel show about going to Machu Picchu, reminiscing a little bit about our adventure days, life before kids. Don't think we can even remember what that even looked like. Before kids, we backpacked across Europe. We climbed mountains in China. But kids had changed our lives completely. We traded out Machu Picchu for Disney World. We were in bed, usually by about 9 p.m., and the last 3 movies we had seen were all animated. Yes, life had become a slow, predictable routine. Where did all the adventure go? Our get up and go had got up and left. As we were thinking about our travels, we thought about our friends, the Howards, close family friends of ours that we'd known for the whole time we lived in Atlanta. A year ago, they decided to sell everything, sell the house, sell all their belongings, and move into an RV. My wife said, we should do that. And I said, yeah, right, we should do that. She said, why not? And after we thought about it a little bit more, by the end of the evening, are we going to do this? I guess, why not? Let's do this. Right about now, you might feel amazed, maybe curious, or maybe think we're a little bit crazy. That's exactly how we felt too. There were many reasons about why we decided to embark on that adventure. But the bottom line is we wanted to fill our treasure chest full of memories. And if you too want to try something crazy like that, 3 easy steps on how to accomplish it. Step number 1, you have to figure out what kind of RV that you want. And there's 3 basic types. You have the big Class A, which a lot of people just see as the Greyhound bus. You have your Class C, which is basically like a U-Haul truck, but it's built out so that you can live in it. Or you have the travel trailer as choice number 3, which means you just have to pull up with a truck. Can you guess which one we chose? We went with the travel trailer. More specifically, a 34-foot Airstream that my youngest daughter nicknamed Shiny Tiny. What do you think you would choose? We went from a 2,500 square foot house to a 250 square foot travel trailer. Now, I know that's kind of hard to wrap your mind around. It might be really hard to imagine. Let's do a little exercise to help you be part of that experience. Imagine you're home now. Now imagine being in your bedroom. It's probably squarish. Let's squish that into a different shape and make it more rectangular. Take everything out of your bedroom except for your bed and put that at one end. Next to your bed, put your bathroom, your toilet, your sink, your shower, and then on the other side, put your closet. And now as we move forward, now you have your kitchen. Fridge on one side. Oh no, not your big fridge that you're happy and used to. A quarter of the size of the fridge you have now. Put that there. A few cabinets. On the other side, you have your sink and your range for cooking. And then you can save towards the end a little bit of space for you to sit down, maybe a couch, a place for you to dine. In our particular case, we had a smaller place to dine, and actually half of the other side were bunk beds for the kids. Now, a tenth of the space means that you can't take it all. It's impossible. So step number 2 is you have to go through the process that I like to call the Great Purge. And basically, there's 3 categories that you have to define in order to do the Great Purge. You have things that you want to take, you have things that you're going to box and keep, and you have things that you're going to get rid of and you're going to donate. Imagine going through every single item that you own and having to decide, am I going to take it with me? Am I going to box it? Or am I going to donate it? Let's do a quick exercise. Let's walk into your closet. Look at your clothes, look at your shoes, pants, dresses, skirts. Now imagine having to go through each and single clothing item and just deciding what you're going to take, box, or donate. In my particular case, I ended up with a lot less. Donated a lot of stuff. I kept 2 suits, 6 dressing shirts, 2 ties, 1 pair of dressing shoes, 6 polos, 3 pairs of shorts. And that is what my closet looks like today. Simplicity to the maximum. In the end, after we had done the Great Purge through our house, all those things that we thought we needed to be in our treasure chest really didn't belong. They were just things. We didn't want things. We wanted to fill our treasure chest with memories. Step number 3, you have to launch, meaning you have to get out there and do it. You could spend a lot of time thinking about why you want to do it, thinking about where you want to go, and spending so much time around logistics, but you just have to go. It took us 5 months to go through the Great Purge, and on June 8th, 2017, we launched. Now, I would really love to share all the places that we had gone to, but I've been threatened by our DJ that if I go over time that I'm going to get muted. But at a high-level summary, let me share with you that we've been to 28 states and 2 provinces in Canada. But our adventures don't stop there. There's so much more that we want to see and do. Quite honestly, I think there's a couple states in there we probably don't want to see, but that's just between you and me. In closing, I would like to issue you a challenge. What are you going to fill your treasure chest with? What memories are you going to build? Now, I realize that can be a little bit of a heavy lift, so I want to make this easy for you so that you can get on your journey. For your next vacation, just try something new. Maybe you want to go skydiving. Maybe go visit a national park. Maybe just go on a new hike that you've never done before. We each have our own definition of what adventure is, but all you have to do is start exploring now so that you too can start filling your treasure chest full of memories. Madam DJ, keep it spinning.
That was awesome. I love that idea of the Great Purge too. Although I do think my house needs a purge, but maybe not a great purge. I don't know if I'm ready for a great purge. I don't know about you guys. Probably my closet too, admittedly. At least my shoes. I know I need a great purge on that. And I love the idea of just trying something new on a vacation. I feel like that's part of the fun of vacations, is like doing things that you don't normally do. So thank you for those wonderful stories. And I can't believe you've been to so many states in such a little amount of time. And when you come back, I would love to like see the Airstream. That would be so cool. Or at least maybe we get a photo of it, of the inside too. Maybe when it's clean, I don't know. I know your wife would probably be like, you're not taking a photo till it's clean. That's what I would tell him anyways. So you guys, I hope you also enjoyed that story and took some things out of it. What we are going to do now is send you back to the breakout rooms, and we're gonna go through page number 12. Oh, and fun fact, page 12 is on the back of page 11 with your ahas. So if you're like me and you couldn't find page 12, boom, that's where it is. So when we send you to breakout rooms, there's going to be some questions on here. You're going to identify the person with the shortest hair this time to be your leader. That should be interesting. What if they don't have hair? You guys will have to figure that one out. And then you're going to go through these questions. There's 6 different questions. Oh, you know what? I could pull this up on screen for you guys. That would be very nice of me, wouldn't it? Share. Ta-da-da. And those questions, try to get through at least the first 2. First question is, based on what you've learned in this workshop and your knowledge about effective stories, what were the most effective techniques AC used to create a killer story? And then question number 2, what suggestions would you give AC to make the story better? If you guys can get through that before we pull you back, then there's 4 additional questions you guys can check out. And I would highly recommend just, perusing those on your own time as well if you don't get to those. So again, that will be on page 12. Make sure when you get in your breakout rooms to unmute yourself so you can communicate with one another through more than just body language. And don't forget that if you guys have any issues, feel free to ask. We will put in the chat these questions as well if you didn't have the handout, and ask for our help if anything goes awry. Without further ado, I think we will send you off into the breakout land so you guys can have some conversations about this. Again, if you have questions, let us know. You're already disappearing. It's crazy to watch this participant number just go. It's kind of fun, but also like, man, they're leaving. Enjoy, fun. Let us know if you have any issues. Don't forget to unmute yourself. That is important. You need to communicate with your vocals today. Utilize the chat if the vocals aren't working, and make sure you let us know if they have any additional issues, questions, yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada.
Accept the invitation, ladies and gentlemen, so you can go to your small group discussion.
Yes, you will need to accept that invitation. I keep forgetting that little point. Thank you, Ron, for the assist. Whee! Go team. Awesome. Getting those instructions in there as well. I think we are just a few more people to head on over, accept your invitation.
Nancy Lesser says in chat she doesn't have an invitation.
Aw, Nancy, we'll get you an invitation.
Okay. And so does Vina. So we've got a couple of people who do not have invitations. Rick, can you put them in a room?
Okay, thanks. Got it.
Also, Ratna Sharma.
I was muted, but I said I'm working on it.
Okay, thanks.
Better Rick than me.
He's got the fast finger situation.
Yeah, and Ratna, and Vina.
Done.
Got it? Okay.
Yep. Just FYI, it comes up as
A speaker, if you get feedback from somebody, to be able to say, oh, well, I was trying to accomplish this, that clearly didn't happen, and now the person giving you the feedback can say, well, if you had done this instead, you would have accomplished your goal.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things in the SRT meetings, when we've had the chance, when we had enough time to have an extended dialogue, we can really do some pretty cool stuff with that. But man, if you don't have a little bit of time to work with, it is hard to keep it contained.
Yeah, in this environment, it wouldn't work very well.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I say, the one that was, as a facilitator, most disturbing to me, Stephen, was how, and literally we saw this in the debate, is as soon as it starts becoming a conversation that is only between two people, everyone in the audience starts feeling excluded. We've lost the audience now.
Hey, Ron, that wasn't a conversation.
Yeah.
That wasn't a conversation.
But
That was two people talking to themselves toward each
Yep.
other.
Scolding.
It was an experience.
30-second warning.
Those were competing speeches. That's what that was.
I would actually
That was
really,
like Thunderdome on stage.
I'd really like to know how many people they lost as soon as that got started. Because I'm going to bet you they had a dive in people viewing, because you're kind of like this.
I don't know.
10
No, there-
seconds.
There's the car crash effect of that too, though.
Yeah.
Right.
I was laughing out loud, literally. So
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of like how you can't keep your eyes off the bleeding bodies in the crunched car, right?
Hey, what a welcome back to our people from the breakout.
right.
Thank you, Ron.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
I was just adding drama.
It's
Well,
it's 60% nonverbal, 40% verbal, and 100% timing.
That's solid advice from Stephen Box right there. Timing is important as well. Don't forget that. That is what they say in humor. Welcome back, everybody. I think we almost have everybody coming back. I hope you guys enjoyed your little discussions. What we are going to do now is have some master coaching. So we have one of our speakers roundtable members who has been a member for a long time, who is also a professional speaker and very good at what he does, going to come on and give us his thoughts on this speech. But before I let him take the stage, I would like to say, if you guys came up with some really great ideas, some concepts, some changes, some feedback for AC, he would love all the feedback he can get. This is a Toastmasters thing. He is a Toastmaster, so he appreciates quality, insightful feedback. So if you want to put in the chat the things that you guys thought of, and as Chris is saying things, if you think of something or if you agree with what he is saying, feel free to put that in the chat as well, so that we can get as much value for this for everyone, but also for our speaker, since he was so kind to have such a big platform that might be a little intimidating to have set up this way. I know I would have been a little intimidated to say, okay, you're going to give a speech and then everybody's going to critique you. Yeah, that would be just a little scary, but he would love all the feedback that he can get. So please utilize the chat and put your ahas, your keepers, your suggestions for AC there. And now, let us hear from the one and only Chris Bush. Our master coach today is Chris Bush. He is a two-time author, although if my Google research did correctly, I think he's working on a third book from what I saw. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But he's also a TEDx speaker, and he is a member of Speakers Roundtable. However, his crowning achievement is that he has been mistaken for Mark Zuckerberg in not one or two, but 3 different countries. I think that's awesome. And you know, Chris, I can see it. I totally can see it. So if you all please join in with me and give a warm welcome to Chris Bush, our master coach for the day.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Amanda, for doing a wonderful job so far. And thank you, AC. I know being a target speaker can be kind of awkward and intimidating, so you are creating a massively valuable service for us today. We really appreciate you, AC. Now, I want to call out the very first thing that I noticed and I loved about your speech. It's the exact same reason why Amanda has kept us hooked to the Zoom so far, and that's the quality and level of your energy. Why is it important as a storyteller to blast open the doors to your audience with all this really high energy and movement and looking here and going, secret, the movies we're watching are all animated. the reason it's so important to have fun with your audience and show them that you're capable of high energy within the first 30 seconds is you're making a promise to your audience that you will not be boring, that you're not afraid to animate and be fun. So that's what I love about the first 30 seconds of your speech. You took some simple storytelling, but you added so much pepper, if you will, in the storytelling and doused some jalapeno on it, made it exciting for us. Now, the second thing that I truly loved about your speech, on a magnitude 10 times more than just your energy, was the way that you handled putting the audience in the RV. So even the most advanced speakers would have done a very great job putting the audience in their RV, right? So as AC, you would say, okay, let me describe my RV to you. Imagine that my wife's paintings were over here and my kids' bunk beds were over here, and etc. And that would work for 90% of speakers and speeches if they do it effectively, if they use sight, sound, etc. But what you did most effectively, your masterstroke of this entire speech, is that you put us in our RV. The most powerful word in a speech is you, and you used it masterfully. And instead of putting us in AC's RV, you put us in our RV. You said, imagine you are in your bedroom and it's now rectangular and you have to cut down everything that you own, your space, etc. And the fact that you had the foresight, the knowledge, the masterful storytelling technique to put us in our RV, I just thought was so brilliant and 10 times more effective than if you just put us in your RV. Now, that all being said, some constructive stuff. There's a magic phrase, an inch wide and a mile deep. And the challenge that I had while I was listening to your story was that I kept stopping myself going, okay, this is a story he's about to tell about this. Oh wait, no, it's about this. Oh, now it's about this. So it started off as a story about adulthood and child rearing and how life changes when you have children. And then you're minimizing, and then you're debating with your wife about getting an RV. And then it became a urge to approach the RV. And we saw the result of this sort of muddled storytelling, this lack of focus in the message that you tried to give us at the very end. The message reflected all of the multiple threads of the story. So because we had multiple narratives, we had multiple messages. And the messages that I took were a combination of live a minimalist lifestyle, consider an RV, adulthood shouldn't be that intimidating, travel with or without your family. There was a lot there. What's valuable about an inch wide and a mile deep is you can just pick one of those narratives and really effectively drive it home for the audience. So if they remember nothing about your speech in 10 days, 10 weeks, 10 years, they'll remember that one little thing you gave us. And in this particular case, I think that one thing, that most powerful narrative, was the purge. And I think the fact that you kept calling it the purge it just told me that that's what you wanted to talk about the most. And there was so much opportunity for humor in there too. And I know, I see you have a great sense of humor. So I thought, oh, he had this opportunity to talk about his wife's challenge with the purge. And that would have also been a great opportunity to connect with a female audience, to say, okay, when I purged, I only had to get rid of like 10% of my socks because I'm a guy. But my wife, let me tell you. So inch wide, mile deep, this is for the whole audience. If you find yourself weaving multiple narratives together, make it easier for yourself. Pick one. You only have 8 to 10 minutes to speak anyway. And I promise you'll have plenty of to really drill down that 1 inch wide, mile deep, and just pick one lane and really drive home a single message out of that lane. So that when we remember one thing in 10 years from your speech, it's that single thing that you chose to focus on. So all that being said, AC, again, thank you very, very much for being our target speaker today. And it's been my pleasure to evaluate you. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that was helpful for everyone.
Awesome. AC, I would love if you wouldn't mind to just give us your top ahas, some key things that you have gotten from this. I know there are like some great ideas in the chat, but just from the coaching itself, anything that really stands out to you specifically as our speaker that you would like to share with us.
I think the key piece that I got out of this was that the message around that I wasn't quite as clear about what was coming out of this. I didn't anticipate that grade purge would stick out so much in Chris's mind, and perhaps, to a great share of the audience. But that point about how there's so many different stories embedded in this, when I go back and look at it, it gives me some renewed energy about what I can pick out and experiment with to drill a lot deeper, because all these experiences do have, as Chris pointed out, some really interesting stories and some funny moments in there that I can leverage. So I appreciate that feedback, and we'll definitely work forward through Toastmasters, because we have that great opportunity to break that out and see how deep I can go into some of those topics, as I refine this even further. So thanks very much. That was awesome.
Awesome. Great. I love hearing that, it's valuable for you and valuable for us. I think this is probably my favorite part, is watching a story and then seeing the feedback. And since we have a little bit of time, I would like to read off some of the comments from you all and what you guys found interesting. So from Cheryl Bonchimino, she said, "Great job, AC. I'd like for you to develop a stronger connection between the memories and the treasures." I like that idea. Bill Davies says, "Effective techniques." Anna Marie says, "Love how descriptive it was, incorporating us in the story so we could visualize the scenario. Great way to use humor to engage us." The one and only Michelle Hanshy shows up. Hey, Michelle. She said, "Our group was encouraged to both be more adventuresome and purge." So you definitely had a couple of messages there. I love that. Anita says, "AC, great speech. You gave us a challenge and tips on how to purge. Showing the travel trailer have given us a better perspective of size." Oh, you want to see it. I know, I want to see it too. Maybe he can post a photo of it in our District 44 Facebook page if we're any luck. Mary David said, "Excellent job. I found you very detailed and animated. Great humor throughout your speech. We want to see the RV." Let's see. Brian Freeman said, "Could tighten description of trailers to allow time for memory descriptions. Allow developing thoughts more." Yep. Michelle also said, "Add more emotion, highlight the struggle, and more humor. Your kids are a top-notch resource." Now, if you guys weren't here with us last week, and you don't have kids, John Matthews says that there are plenty of kids available right now because of COVID-19 that you could totally borrow. So there are plenty of kids out there for you to look at. Just a heads up. Greta Newman says, "Great speech. I love your visual you gave with image of a house. Now you live in one room. I would love to hear more about the treasures, memories that you have gained." And Marie also says, "Fantastic way to put us there. And the words were complemented by your body movement." Yep, that is important. That's that body language again. Bill Davies says, "Effective techniques. Chronology, timeline. That's the word. You guys,
Chronology.
Thank you. Anyways, humor, comparisons, give and take, challenge, make memories. Candace Sim says, "Discovery for sure." Let's see. Bill Davies also says, "To improve, more humor, example, distance from the camera, use some names." And Ron Chapman will be my final one here. AC, "The close was crafted to appeal to the audience, i.e. the ask you delivered was inherently valuable." I agree. I think as speakers, it is our job not only to entertain our audience, but also to give them that one little nugget of wisdom to take away and really have something that they can do with it. I hope everything is going well for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this thus far. At this time, we are ready for our break. But before we go on our break, I just want to let you know, when you come back, we will have another story. And I hear this one is supposed to have some jokes sprinkled in here or there. So that will be coming up, followed by some more coaching and also the breakout rooms for you guys to take a look at that. So without further ado, I will stop here and we're going to do a 10-minute break this time. So I want everybody back here at 10:25. I will have our countdown timer here as well so that you guys know when to come back. Oh, there we go. Oh, wait, no, I gotta make sure the sound is going. So, moral of the story is come back at 10:25. And if you guys wanna stay on and chit chat, that is also welcome to do so. But we will see you at 10:25. Usually you see the winner and then you go back. Dead. Da, 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 da. Woo woo. Okay, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed your break. I see some shining faces. I saw some dancing, which makes me happy because I like to dance and I like people that like to dance. So, you know, that's why we get along, right? Welcome back, everybody. If you can hear my voice, that means we're starting again. Come back, beautiful people. All right, I'm gonna assume everybody's back, but I feel like there's some stragglers here still. We are going to hear another story, and I know everybody's very excited about this because I'm very excited about this because we have a wonderful storyteller about to come on for us today. He is a friend of mine, or at least I think he's a friend of mine. Hopefully he will smile and confirm when I say that. His name is Stephen Box. And he will be presenting for us today his story called My First Time. The first time we do anything is often awkward, sometimes embarrassing, and almost always full of opportunity to laugh at yourself. Today, Stephen Box will share with us a story of an important first in his life that didn't quite go the way he thought it was going to. Please help me welcome Stephen Box sharing this story of his first time. Woohoo!
Do you remember your first time? The beating of your heart, the butterflies in your stomach, the beads of sweat in your palms. It's totally natural to feel this way. After all, the first time you get on an airplane can be a very nerve-wracking experience. Wait, did you guys think I was talking about something else? Come on, man, get your minds out of the gutter, people. We're talking about the first time you fly on an airplane. The first time I flew was for my honeymoon back in 2004, just shortly after 9/11, when airport security was sky high. My trip started off great. After all, I'm a all the grocery bags in one trip kind of guy. So I was pretty proud of myself for avoiding the $65 check bag fee by putting an entire week's worth of travel stuff into one carry-on and one personal item. Yes, I was quite proud of myself. After all, Think about check bag fees. Who wants to pay those? I'm going to give you $65 to take my bag away, to toss it around, and then I have to wait for you to give it back to me? No, I'm going to take it on the plane with me, have it at all times, and I don't have to wait on anybody when I get off, and I save $65. Feeling pretty good about myself. That is until I arrived at the airport, when I found out that all of this had to go into this. Well, all I can say is, Mom, you are wrong. All those hours of Tetris did, in fact, serve a purpose in my life. They were not a waste of my time. After I got my bag reorganized and situated, I now move into the line. Now, something about this line that you may not notice at first glance is there's a little trickery involved here. First of all, the line's not just straight back. They have ropes that go horizontally to fit as many people into the line as possible, therefore giving you the illusion that it's short. So here I am with my 75-pound backpack, feeling good about myself, thinking this line's not that long. I can easily get through this line. Well, halfway through, trouble set in. I started to regret my decision to not pay the check bag fee because all of a sudden my bag started weighing more and more. Did someone slip a toddler in here? How is my bag gaining weight? Oh man, my legs are getting so tired. My shoulders hurt. My neck hurts. My back hurts. Man, this is hard. And just about the time I'm almost ready to break, when I'm just setting my bag on the ground to give my body a rest, we move forward 2 or 3 steps. Just enough that the peer pressure of everyone around you, that you have to pick your bag back up and move forward. And to make this even worse, the ropes are so flimsy, you can't even lean against them. All you can do to relieve the pain is rock back and forth like this. Not fun, but I made it through. I get to the front of the line. I'm feeling accomplished again. Yes, I figured out that logic test. I got all those things into the bag. I passed my endurance test of getting through the line. They check off my ID and my boarding pass. I get all of my belongings onto the conveyor belt. Life is going well. I should have known. I should have known that trouble was just around the corner. Because as I'm walking up to the nudie scanner, and I call it that because there's people in a control room who can see everything but your face. Otherwise, you have no secrets from them whatsoever. So as I'm walking up to the nudie scanner, I am met by Susan. Sir, you're gonna have to take off your belt. Susan, there's a bit of a problem. You see, I'm going on my honeymoon, and I've been working out and lost a lot of weight, and I haven't bought new pants yet. So if I take off this belt, the people in the nudie scanner room aren't going to be the only ones getting a show. Sir, that is not my problem. Okay. So now I'm holding my pants up like this. I got my legs spread out. I'm trying to, do my best. I'm waddling into the scanner and I'm trying to get in. And now I'm inside. And Susan goes, "Sir, you have to put your hands above your head like the picture." So I push my legs out as far as they will. I try to blow air into my hips. I'm trying to do anything I can to keep my pants up at this point, just so I can put my hands above my head. Finally, Susan relents. "Sir, just step out of the machine and we'll do the pat down." I'm feeling a little bit accomplished again. I managed to get out of the nudie scanner. I turned. Whoa. 6'5" mass of humanity with a name tag that all it said was Buck. Sir, I'm gonna need you to come over here so I can pat you down. I tried to go back into the duty scanner. Susan, sir, you can't come back in here. You have to go with Buck. Oh my goodness, what have I done? I've made the biggest mistake of my life. I reluctantly go with Buck, who pats me down. And for those of you wondering, yes, I still am in therapy, but my therapist assures me that I am making excellent progress. It's only taken 16 years to get to this point. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, we're through the worst of it. Things cannot get any worse. After Buck does this pat down, I go to reach for my bag. Oh, my bag is missing. Where's my bag? Buck has now taken my bag over to the table to go through it. Sir, I'm gonna need you to come over here with me so I can go through your belongings and check everything out. The first thing the Buck finds in my bag is one of my workout bands. I'm guessing the Buck's not that familiar with workout bands because this is what the interaction looked like. Kind of freaking stuff you into, boy? Oh my goodness, this is so embarrassing. Like, I can just feel my face turning bright red. I wanted to hide, and now I'm really, really regretting not just checking my bag. I could have avoided all of this. At least at this point, things can't get any worse, right? I mean, I've been just violated. I've been humiliated in front of everyone. I've been broken going through the line. Things can't get any worse. This has to be over soon. I forgot that this was in my bag. Needless to say, Buck did not believe that that was protein powder. I don't need a K9 unit over here. Finally, after Scooby-Doo cleared me that it was just protein powder and not drugs, I was allowed to go on my way. Needless to say, my first airplane trip did not go quite as I had planned for it to. But the good news for you is I did learn a couple of key takeaways. Number one, sometimes in life, it is best not to take the shortcut. In other words, just pay the check bag fees. They're worth it. Number two, if you're going to travel with protein powder, I suggest chocolate. Vanilla, not the best idea. And finally, if you ever find yourself traveling through Hartsfield International Airport here in Atlanta, you may want to call ahead and make sure that Buck is not working at the TSA line that day. Back to you, Amanda.
Oh, jeez. I don't know about you guys, but my cheeks hurt from laughing. And you know, Steven, I can see you doing that. I believe this story, and I am not ever trying to look for Buck. I know that. Chocolate protein powder. I think that's on my takeaway list. Where's my IHOP page? I gotta write that down. Chocolate protein powder. That is the key. Whew. Well, I have to talk after that, but that's difficult because I'm almost out of breath from laughing. On page 14 of your handout, we have some questions that you guys get to analyze Steven's humility, hilarity, ridiculousness of his airplane speech. When you get to, we're going to breakout rooms, I should say, my apologies. When you get to your breakout rooms, 1, unmute yourself. 2, if you have issues, let us know. 3, make sure you utilize the chat if your mute is just in mute. And then you're going to identify the person this time with the longest hair. So if you have people that, if you have a room of all bald people, I don't know what you guys are gonna do, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. And then you're going to go through these questions. Again, we have 6 questions for you. Let me put it up on our screen here so you guys can see the questions. We will be putting those into the chat as well so that you can refer back to them if you do not have them. Again, it is page 14. Based on what you've learned in this workshop and your knowledge about effective stories, what were the most effective techniques Stephen used to create a killer story? Number 2, what suggestions would you give Stephen to make the story better? Now we are going to run this just like we did with AC's. Chris will be coming back to give some master ideas. We will be looking for your ideas in the chat, and we just might let Stephen say thank you at the end of it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But we're going to send you guys into breakout rooms. Please remember to admit yourself into said breakout rooms. I do believe we have, I think it's 15 minutes for this as well. And of course, we will pull you guys right back in. Unmute yourself, accept the room, ask any questions, and analyze the story and come back with some great suggestions. I know Stephen will be excited to hear them all from you. Page 14 in your breakout or in your handout, and I think we're ready to go. Rick, you may proceed with the purge of the people on the main screen. I don't think that's what AC meant, but I'm gonna go with it anyways. All right, and the questions will be dropped into the chat. Make sure you unmute yourself, accept the invitation to go into the breakout room. Let us know if you guys have any questions. You got about 15 minutes to analyze Stephen's story. And don't forget to look for Scooby-Doo around the corner. Yeah, I picked up on that one. Oh, that cracked me up. Poor Scooby-Doo. He didn't find anything good. Ruh-roh, Shreddy. All right. Now, we're almost there. We've got just a few more people. You just need to go ahead and accept. Join the breakout room is the specific terminology. It should have popped up on your screen. And if not, I know our Rick Master, that's your new name, will is
Everybody's assigned. Everybody is assigned.
awesome. Just need to
He is the master of all things Rick.
He's also the master of the beret, from what I understand.
Yes, it looks like just a few people who haven't accepted their invites to the rooms yet.
We have an event team breakout room. Are we supposed to be going to that?
No, that was where I assigned us so that if we did accidentally, like if we didn't end up in a room that we didn't expect. So
Sure.
If you were to accept it, then it was just one of us. So if we were all to accept it, then it would just be, again, us.
I think some of us accepted it. And
Hi, Natalie.
Thanks
Natalie, I straight up thought that was a Guinness for a second. I was like, yes.
It's Saturday, Amanda. Of course it's a Guinness.
Thank
you.
Had some great discussions in there with each other and came up with some, I don't know how it's going to be possible, but some more ways to entertain via Stephen's speech and what you guys liked about it, how he can improve. I know he is excited to hear everybody's feedback. I think we just about got everybody in here. 58. Oh, somebody just left. All right, well, bye. Anyways, I think, is this everybody? Rick, give me a yes, it's everyone.
Yes.
Thanks, Rick.
Everyone's back.
Appreciate you. Rick, everybody, he has been our master of Zoom today. We appreciate him. So just a little kudos to you, Rick, for showing up and helping us all out, because I know that is not the job that I was looking for. So we are going to do the same exact thing that we did with AC. We are going to have Chris come on and do his master coaching, which also means I want you all to put in the chat your thoughts, your ideas, what you guys came up with. And of course, if Chris says something you resonate with, go along and do that as well. So Chris, floor is yours.
All righty. Thank you, Amanda. And of course, thank you, Stephen, for being our second target speaker today. All right, Stephen, I'm just going to start and blow the gates open with what I thought was your stroke within your speech. And that was the way that you handled your speech title about the first time. And I thought probably the same thing everybody else thought in this in this room, oh God, is this guy about to hop on and talk about his sex life? This is horrifying. So you built this very tangible tension that got us really roped in. And what I loved about that too is it was really risky, but you walked that tightrope and you just nailed it. You're like, the first time I was on an airplane, what were you guys thinking, you dirty birds? And I thought that was just so great. It made me so nervous, but then it had the payoff, and I thought that's a masterstroke of comedy. So well done. The other thing I really liked that you had a lot of visuals. And your visuals weren't just a gimmick, they added value to your storytelling. So the visual of you pulling your belt up, that was really powerful. The visual of you holding up and saying, I had to put all of this in this, also very powerful. Again, a lot of people use visuals in their presentations, especially like PowerPoints, just as a gimmick to cover weak storytelling. You used it to amplify what was already great storytelling. So nice work with the props. And finally, I liked your immersive voices. You had 3 characters going on at the same time, and you kept us engaged in all 3 in the whole dialogue. When you do voices effectively, consistently, and you really commit to those funny little characters, it gives us a sense of who's in the room and where they are in the dynamics. So you did that really well. Now, on to some constructive stuff. This one's really simple and really mechanical. You are too close to your camera, sir. And the way that I know that is your best visual gag was obfuscated by the edge of your camera, because I want to see if I can actually show everyone what I'm talking about. So there's a moment where you told us what you were doing inside the TSA, the creeper chamber. I forget what you called it, but you had a really funny name for it. And the nudie chamber, something like that. And you had this brilliant visual that you had to describe to us when I really would have loved to see you do it like this. You're like, so that would have been a lot of fun to see you do, and I saw you do it, but you were just too close to the camera. We couldn't see your whole body. Now, next, and this is a little bit bigger of a piece of feedback, but for the first about 4 minutes of the speech, you were missing the why. The why should the audience be listening? So you started us with this really engaging, tension-building title, and you really crushed that opening anecdote, that opening joke. But then there was this period for about 3.5 minutes where you were talking about your experience going through TSA, but that was very rote and mundane for us. It's an experience that we've all had. So what I didn't quite hear was the hook. What was going to keep us engaged in the story? Why should we listen to you for the next 3 minutes? And that's a very easy fix, because right at the 4-minute mark, you actually gave us that hook. It was just late, and that hook was, trouble was just around the corner. So I personally didn't see a reason why you couldn't have put that hook way earlier in the story to say, well, the very first time that I went through TSA was on my honeymoon, and little did I know that trouble was just around the corner. Instant hook that's going to engage us through all of your anecdotes. And then finally, what I have for you, I think above all else, and what I would give everyone to take home with them, is the value of a word economy. This was an excellent story, well told, with a lot of fat on it that needed to be trimmed. There were simply too many words. And the way that most commonly manifested was that there were often times where you told us how you were feeling when we already felt that ourselves. So a very simple example is, at multiple points you told us, I felt scared, I felt awkward, I felt uncomfortable. Well, we as an audience, you were already doing such a masterful job of making us feel scared, awkward, uncomfortable, that you didn't even need to tell us how you felt, because we already felt that with you. And I want to give my favorite example of show, don't tell, and general word economy. So Dave Chappelle, in my opinion, is one of the best professional speakers in the world. And he gets on stage for one of his latest Netflix specials. And there's a story that he tells that could have been 1,000 words, but it was only a few words. He goes, now some of y'all heard that I got booed off stage in Detroit. It's not true. I was booed. I did not leave. So you see the impact of that story, the humor. It's so few words. And Shakespeare once said that brevity is the soul of wit. So I think what would have taken this story from an 8 to a 10 is if you took a second pass at it and said, how can I eliminate about 30 to 40% of the words in this story while retaining all of the emotions and all the essential information for the audience? When you take out all of those words and you replace it with pauses, that's what creates a very rich, lean piece of meat of a story. Now, again, Stephen, thank you so much for sharing that story with us. It was charming. It was fun. We were all engaged. And we appreciate you being our target speaker. Thank you all for listening. I hope that was helpful for you, Stephen, and I hope that was helpful for everyone listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Of course it was useful and helpful, and I appreciated you getting up and doing things because you guys, you know, I'm animated and I like to get engaged. Stephen, give us your big aha takeaway for us, would you?
Yeah. So first, Chris, thank you very much for all the feedback. Greatly appreciate it. So for me, the big ahas were to really focus on adding those dramatic elements. And one of the ways to do that is to trim the fat, act out the emotions rather than telling them, and then use that extra time to create effective pauses or to explain to my audience what's in it for them, to create those hooks throughout the course of the story, not just have one or two, but have them throughout the course of the story to keep them engaged and keep them going from one section of the story to the very next. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Okay, guys, it is your turn to tell us your ahas. So if you were with us last week, you will remember at the end, we asked you to give us like 5 to 7 words. This is not a full table topic because we have a mute master who can, Anya. So please, you're going to go ahead and raise your hands in the participants area. If you go to the participants button at the bottom of your screen, you can go there to choose to raise your hands and to go ahead and take away the ahas for us. Miss Rabina, I'm sorry, Dr. Rabina.
Yes.
Because Roundtable's very own. I apologize, Dr. Rabina, please.
Yes.
The floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much. And just so everyone knows that my PhD stands for Professional Hell-Raising Diva. So today we're going to do some hell-raising with what did you get out of today's session. So I would like to make sure everyone's raising their hand. Yes, thank you, thank you. And I'm going to start out with Cheryl. Cheryl, please tell us your aha. Remember, keep it to 5 words, and otherwise you will get muted by the mute master.
No need to threaten me. That is easy. My takeaway for today is to choose my stories to be 1 inch wide and a mile deep rather than a mile wide and 1 inch deep. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Cheryl. Next up, Brian Freeman.
My takeaway was to trim the fat and use pauses instead.
Thank you very much. All right, I don't see many hands raised. Otherwise, should I just call on people? Anybody want to volunteer? Please tell us your aha.
Leno.
Lena. Yeah, thank you. Lena.
Yes, hi. My aha moment today is a lot of lessons learned. Trim the words, have the pause, just like what the coach was saying, Master Coach Chris was saying, and keep the simplicity, what AC mentioned, as well as dramatize what Stephen mentioned.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Our next participant is Mr. Parshar.
I think I need to look at my closet today. So in a way, trim the fat. So that is my takeaway.
Very good. Thank you. Who's going to be the next brave soul?
You can also put your ahas in the chat. if you are camera shy.
Yes, very good. Thank you for reminding us to do that as well. All right. Anybody else?
Al Wiseman.
Okay, Al Wiseman, thank you.
You're still
Al?
muted, Al.
Since Al's on mute, I'll jump in. Michelle Hanchey. It is demonstrate emotion. Show your emotion. Don't talk about it.
Very good. Very
My
good.
takeaway is start out and maintain a high level of energy.
Yes. Thank you very much.
This is Ruby Broll. My takeaway was drill down to one lane and focus on that.
Very good. Thank you. And some things from the chat. There was Fran who said less is more. So I appreciate you guys participating in the chat, as well as anybody else want to go with their hand raised. All right, very good. Well, Amanda, I'm going to give it back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rubina. I appreciate that. And if anybody else has something else they want to say, of course, the chat is wide open until it's not, which will be at 11:30. So please feel free to put any nuggets of wisdom, thoughts, or again, any suggestions for either of our target speakers. At this time, we are going to hear from Speakers Roundtable's Presidente 2020-2021. She just wanted to come in and give us a quick word to say thank you for everybody for coming in. And her name is Natalie Gallagher. So Natalie, my friend Natalie, would you care to grace the stage and give us a little words of wisdom from the president?
Absolutely, and thank you so much, Amanda. First, I want to start by thanking the organizing team that put this workshop together. They did quite a bit behind the scenes, but I want to shine the spotlight specifically on Gail Ely, mainly because Gail is not the kind of person who will shine the spotlight on herself. But Gail is the main person who herded all the cats into the direction to put on this workshop, and we are not easy cats to herd. So if everybody could briefly unmute themselves and give Gail a big round of applause. Thank you so much, Gail, for your service.
This is amazing.
Now unmute you.
I know she had a lot of really great help on her team as well. So thank you so much, Gail. I just want to briefly tell you about Speakers Roundtable. We are an advanced club and we are a coaching club. So for instance, a number of you dropped into the chat that you would love to get coached by Chris. Well, guess what? You have that opportunity because as a member of Speakers Roundtable, Chris shows up every Tuesday evening to give such high quality, specific, and constructive coaching to our members. Because we are a coaching club, when you speak as a member, you don't get just one evaluation. We actually have open coaching, which means anyone in attendance at the meeting, including guests, can raise their hand and offer a few tidbits just like you saw. And in return, that makes you a well-developed, strong, growing speaker who has a platform to experiment and thrive. So if you are ready, we meet Tuesdays from 6:30 to 8 via Zoom. Just let someone on our platform know and we'll make sure you get the Zoom link. One caveat though, if you want to join a club where every time you speak, everybody's going to say you were perfect and wonderful and nothing needs to be changed, Speakers Roundtable is not that club at all. But if you want to speak and you want a group of supportive, confident, helpful people to say, this is how you can make your speech better, this is how you can better connect with the audience, and this is how you can grow as a speaker, then we absolutely are a place that you should come visit. So one more time, a big hand for the organizers. It sounds like everything went amazing. I loved hearing the feedback. Thank you so much, guys, and hope to see you Tuesday evening.
Woohoo! Thank you, Natalie. And yes, Gail is the Chief Cat Herder Extraordinaire. I think that's going to be her new title. She's actually the past president of Speakers Roundtable, but scratch that, Chief Cat Herder it is. That one seems to fit much.
And as a fellow cat person, I know that Gail will appreciate that title.
Oh, I love that. I think that's great. Yes, everybody's welcome to come join. And I just want to say, if anybody is not a Toastmaster on this meeting, I'm not sure if we have anybody who is not a Toastmaster, but if you are not, you can go and visit toastmasters.org and learn all about what it is. Basically, it's where you get to perfect, well, work on, I shouldn't say perfect, because it is as Al Wiseman would attest, it is a long-standing, ongoing thing to learn how to become a good speaker, a great speaker, and also a wonderful place to learn about leadership and practice. Practice, practice, practice in a warm, open, welcoming environment. And I will say that District 44 has been the most welcoming place and most supportive that I have ever been involved in. And that is, honest to God, not paid to say that, truth. As soon as I came into this district, I was very impressed with how open everybody was to help me grow and learn, and excited to be there. So if you're not a member of Toastmasters or District 44, we are that's not a word, majority? That's definitely not a word. We are mostly online on Zoom meetings right now. So if you are from somewhere outside of Georgia, please come and visit one of our clubs, any of our clubs. You can check out the district website as well, d44toastmasters.org. Shout out to our district leaders for being with us today. I saw Roxanne dancing away, and I appreciate that, Roxanne. I knew I liked you with the dancing on. And I also saw Kari, and I did think I saw Karen at one point as well, our awesome district leaders who were like, yeah, guys, go herd cats and show cats to the world. That's great. We appreciate you guys for supporting us with that as well. We are almost to the end, and what we're going to do is close out with a phenomenal story. But I want to really close with a phenomenal story, so that is why I'm giving all the goodbyes and the thank yous right now. I will tell you, we have a survey that we would love for you guys to fill out and let us know what we did well and what we could improve upon. Yeah, we're Toastmasters, and we know we're not perfect, and we know we could use some work, and I know I need to learn how to use real words and say them correctly. It's fine, I'll figure it out someday. But we're going to put that survey in the chat for you guys. If you do have a few minutes, it's a short survey. We would love to know all of your thoughts and appreciate that tremendously. So I think that's everything I need to tell you. Oh, and it's also in your handout. Thank you, it's in your handout, the survey link as well, in case you guys don't get that. But it is this time that we get to have none other than Al Wiseman share a story with us. If you are not familiar with Al Wiseman, he has been a Toastmaster for over 25 years. 25 years. That is a long time, and in that long time, he has earned 3 distinguished Toastmasters. 3, which, I mean, 1 is impressive, but you know, Al's a go-getter and he got 3. He's also won the division and he's won the division contest in humor and evaluation. He also was a finalist for the Table Topics contest at the division level in 2019. And I just learned he was working his way over there for the humor contest last year, but something happened and it didn't happen, unfortunately. But I'm hoping that someday I get to hear that speech regardless. He is a member of North Gwinnett Advanced Speakers Club as well. We do have more than one advanced club here in District 44, which I think is really cool. And he is the author of the book, Finding the Funny, which shows you how to find funny in everyday life situations. Despite all of that, and is known for being funny, today when we asked him to be the closing speaker, he had just one story in mind. And it wasn't necessarily a funny story, but it is a real incident that happened to him that he will never forget, and one that he thinks is gonna have some value for us all as well. So please, help me welcome the one and only Mr. Al Wiseman.
This is a business card case. It's brass. And this is a bullet. It's a .22 caliber bullet to be exact. I want you to think about what these 2 totally unrelated objects could possibly have in common. My story begins back in my hometown city of Detroit, Michigan. I grew up in an inner city neighborhood called the North End. If you weren't from there and you drove through my neighborhood, you would call it the hood. But for me, it was just home. Sure, we had our share of pushers, pimps, and prostitutes, but I grew up in a loving two-family household, and I was mostly sheltered from all of this street life. That is until one night in August 1983. At this stage of my life, I was doing very well for myself. I was the first person to graduate from college in my family. I was working my first professional job at a major computer firm in Detroit. I wore a suit and tie to work, and I was driving my first brand new car. It was a 1982 Honda Civic 4-door sedan, metallic blue with a 5-speed stick shift. It was a great car, except for in the wintertime when all the windows froze up and you couldn't see. This particular night, I had gotten off work. I decided to stop off over one of my friend's house, Glenn Wilson. Glenn lived a few blocks from me. We had grown up on the North End together. I decided to just stop by, have a couple of drinks, listen to some music, and chill out. After a few hours, it started to get pretty late, so I decided to head on home. I was driving down this dark side street to get to Woodward Avenue. Now, Woodward Avenue is the main street in Detroit, similar to Peachtree Street here in Atlanta, but only a lot less glamorous. As I pulled up to the corner of Woodward Avenue, I saw this shadowy figure crossing the street from my left-hand side. I didn't think anything of it, just a pedestrian crossing the street in front of me. All of a sudden, he took an abrupt turn, and before I knew it, he was at my car window. He pulled something out from his pocket and he bashed my car window in. I put my hands up instinctively to shelter myself from all of the shattered glass that was coming in. And then I heard a pop noise. All of this was happening in a matter of seconds, so I had to think fast. If I put the car in first and jammed on the gas and pulled out into Woodward Avenue, I probably would have came into oncoming traffic and had an accident. So what I did instead was I shifted the car into reverse, I hit my foot on the gas, and I careened back down the street. I made it about a half a block until I crashed into a fire hydrant. I jumped out of the car, I ran around the block back onto Woodward Avenue to try to flag down some help. It was a rainy night out, and while I was running to get back onto Woodward, I felt something very warm and moist inside of my coat. I put my hand inside my trench coat and I pulled it out, and it was covered with blood. That pop noise I heard must have been a gunshot. I was on Woodward Avenue, and luckily within a few minutes, I was able to flag down a City of Detroit police car. The police car pulled over, screeched over to the curb. The policeman jumped out and he said, "Young man, what seems to be the problem?" I said, "Somebody tried to carjack me." He said, "Where at?" I said, "Back there on King Street. And I think I've been shot." "You've been shot?" He put me into the back of the police car, he hit the siren, and he radioed ahead for help at Henry Ford Hospital, Detroit's major trauma center. Now, Henry Ford Hospital is very similar to Atlanta's Grady Hospital, only a lot less glamorous. Within a few minutes, we were pulling up to the emergency room exit at Henry Ford. There were medical personnel waiting outside in their scrubs, and they had a gurney. They helped me out of the back seat of the police car, and they put me on the gurney, and they started an IV. As they were rushing me into the operating room, they were ripping open my clothes, and I looked down, and all I could see is that there was blood everywhere. After a few minutes in the operating room, the doctor extracted a .22 caliber bullet slug. He showed it to me. He said, "Young man, you were very lucky. It was just a flesh wound. Had it been 2 centimeters over, it would have pierced my heart." They took the bullet out, they irrigated the wound, they patched me up, and they decided to keep me overnight for observation. In the morning, I got up and I was gathering together my bloody clothes to put them on when I noticed that the suit I was wearing that night I was wearing a three-piece navy blue suit, and it had a vest just like this. The vest had 4 pockets. It had 2 lower pockets and 2 upper pockets. I pulled the vest out and I went in the upper left-hand pocket, the one closest over my heart, and I pulled out this business card case. I looked at the case and I noticed that the corner of the case was slightly bent. I looked at my vest and you could see where the bullet hole had entered and went through my shirt. That's when I realized that this business card case had deflected the bullet. This little case probably saved my life. That was over 30 years ago. And when I think about all of the kids that I grew up on the North End, especially the boys, over 50% of them didn't make it out alive. They either got strung out on heroin, they either went to jail or prison, or they were victims of gun violence. I was one of the lucky ones. About a week later, we were sitting around with Glenn, his family, my family, and some friends, and I was telling them about the incident, and I made the casual comment, you know what? I'm not even supposed to be here. Glenn's sister, Renita, stopped the conversation, and she looked me dead in the eye, and she said, Al, don't you ever say that. You are supposed to be here. Maybe you grew up in a rough neighborhood. Maybe you came up out of a challenging environment. Maybe you survived an abusive relationship. And maybe you've had a near brush with death. If you've had any of those things, you have beat the odds. You are a survivor, and you are supposed to be here. What do these 2 things have in common? I keep them on my desk every day, and they serve as a constant reminder that I am a survivor and that I am supposed to be here. Amanda.
Whew. Amazing. Al, wow, thank you for that. That is so powerful. You know, one of my mentors says that our stories are meant to be heard. And I think that's so true. And your story really, really touched me, and I'm sure everyone else here. So thank you for sharing that with us. We are meant to be here. We are meant to be with one another, and to learn to utilize our voices in a way that is so powerful and effective, just like that. I hope everybody has gotten a lot out of this workshop that you can take home with you, and you can work on your speeches and go to the next level, so that when you speak, when you use this platform, you too can be effective and touch somebody's life. Thank you all for coming. We will see you guys around District 44. It's so quiet. You guys can come off mute and say bye.
Bye, everybody.
Great job.
Bye.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good job, Amanda. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Don't forget the survey.
Yes.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you. Thank you, Amanda. Great job.
Thank you, everybody. Good job.
This was so valuable. Thank you so much, Speakers Roundtable.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yes, it was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
It's awesome tidbits of information.
Great. Thank you, Alan.
Always.
Awesome.
Take care, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Awesome job, Amanda.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Keep talking. Keep more comments. I want to test the mute button. Come on.
Thank you to John. And
Thank you, Rick. Thank you,
Let me test it. Let me test it on Ron again.
Yeah, go on. I was gonna say, you
Okay.
can do it on me if you want.
Too much, John. Too much.
We go big. We go big, right?
We play big.
Awesome.
We play big.
Play
We
big.
play big.
We play big.
Who's no, there's nothing happening. I mean, you can come in.
We're just kind of wrapping things up.
Unlike Toastmasters fashion, we are
I know.
I know. Awesome.
It's like I think we're behind like 2 minutes. I was like, oh, I can fix that. No problemo. Al, you know,
I wanna congratulate you. That last transition after Al's speech, when you transitioned back to us, was impeccable.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you.
You know, continue to do your MC. I want to encourage you to do that, and to offer those tidbits, those nuggets, every time a speaker comes off. I mean, if I want to bottle that, I want to bottle that transition after Al.
Amanda, let me second what Michelle is saying.
Yeah, thank you.
Because if we compare that one, and this is not a critique, but some of the others that weren't as well crafted, I mean, when you look at that incredible role the MC has, when you can really craft it and nail it, it is so much in service of what we're here to do. So big encouragement to really learn how to do that like you did on the close.
Thank you. That one, well, I mean, if we can close that way, all the others can be gone anyways, right? Because that's how we'll make people feel.
Well,
Yeah.
you wanted to bottle it up. It is recorded somewhere.
Yes.
So that's sort of a bottle.
So Amanda, I would suggest watch one of your others and then watch that one.
Yep.
And
Spot
you're
on.
going to see the difference.
I did get to think about that one a little bit because I saw the whole speech in advance from Al and I was like, how do we, and it was some help as well because everybody was like, you know what, let's not do the thank yous at the very end.
Yeah.
Just put a bow on it.
Yeah, and Amanda, what I suggested was
Oh no, you went on mute. What happened?
Tanya, we lost you.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Wasn't me.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so to their point, I so agree. One thing you might want to do is go count the us, the you, the we, and the I's. So go in each segment and it kind of builds on what Ron said last week. Count how many I's you had in there because you may want to reduce some of those and mirror what you did in that last, as they mentioned.
Yeah, the greatest temptation for all of us is to get lured into making the segues about us. It is so hard to stay on focus.
Yeah.
Especially when you're ad-libbing because there's that tendency to just sort of get self-referential. Michelle, I think it was a brilliant piece of coaching for Amanda to go back and compare that close. Pick one of your most verbose transitions and literally go back and compare the two on the differences. I think that's a brilliant suggestion, Michelle.
Right, yeah, totally.
A one or two come out.
Yeah. Hey, Al, a suggestion for you on your intro.
Yes, sir.
I sent a note to Amanda about this, and I'm just going to give you an example of this. When I was reviewing accredited speaker submissions, what I noticed is everybody who didn't go forward had an introduction that went on and on and on.
Okay.
Right? And so I was clocking you, and I think that was almost, by the time all was done and said, almost a 2.5 to 3 minute intro.
Oh, wow.
And it is hard to justify that for any speaker because the goal of the intro is to get you on the stage with us leaning in anticipation. And so, I mean, there's a real craft, is what I suggest to Amanda. There's a real craft to really 30 seconds, 45 seconds, just really get us on edge so we're leaning in. And the more things you tell us about you, the less interested we become. So all those you do have to do some, admittedly, but you got to be really, really crafty about how you do that so we don't lose interest.
That's a very good point. And the interesting thing is I had written a short, abbreviated intro. And then when I saw your workshop last week about giving yourself credibility in the intro, I scrapped it and rewrote it to this intro. Because my first intro, it was exactly that. I mean, it was real brief. I didn't mention any of my past accomplishments. And then it's around, it's like, okay, give yourself some credibility. So I went a little overboard. So
Right. But if you go back and were to look at what I had Amanda do for me, it was very tight.
was.
Yes.
Because the intro wasn't actually about me other than to establish that credibility. And then essentially I used it with Amanda's help to like, and then knock me off the pedestal because it's really about the audience, which was part of my message.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's an excellent suggestion, Ron. Thank you so much.
So Al, Ron helped me with my intro and it was brilliant. So he took where I was going and he threw in the Maya Angelou. And it was like, oh, brilliant, because he knew what I was trying to do. But he put that little piece in, but he said, now some of you may know her as past, but today. So that's all he said about my background. So it was mentioned, but it was so brief. You know, she did this, but today it's about this. So I thought that was clever. One other thing, Ron, I really, really hope and pray that you and perhaps Gail or others will lead maybe a 2-hour workshop on developing and being able to deliver an introduction. You do it like nobody's business. And if nothing else, if we don't know how to write them, at least learn how to deliver them.
That's huge. No, that's huge because you can have a great intro and then you have Al has been a Toastmaster for 25 years.
Yeah, well, in my best of all worlds, and for those of you I've done this with, we actually talk, because getting you on the stage right is hugely important.
It should be like getting launched out of a torpedo tube.
Absolutely.
You have to get them up on the stage with the like maximum momentum behind them.
That's what it feels like too, getting launched out there.
So maybe that is some future. That's a good suggestion, Tanya, because we really mess it up because we go on and on and on about all the credentials of someone, and basically the audience doesn't care.
Yeah.
Right. They want to know you're credible. And again, I will share. There was a submission in the accredited speaker. Her intro was 5 minutes. 5 minute.
That's a resume.
A 5-minute intro for a 15-minute presentation.
Wow.
And it's like, I'm sorry, she is not ready for professional status because it just completely missed the audience.
It's amazing. I didn't know Kanye West was an accredited speaker.
He was trying. He didn't succeed.
Hey, Ron, though, there's some grace, though. You may not be worth like a 2.5-minute intro, but you're worth like maybe like a minute 5, right? Maybe minute 3 in there. Yeah. You can hang in for that.
Yeah.
But and Ron, I want to change up my suggestion. I really think you should make this a paid event. This is not one to be given away free. You give away a lot of stuff we all do. 20. I mean, that's top level wisdom that I just think you should monetize and get something. I see seeing true.
Okay, that's a good point. I'm actually just getting ready to put together a curriculum on professional speaking standards. So.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'd like to get a little feedback from Chris if he has a second or he's away from this.
Yeah.
And if he does it offline.
So Stephen and Al, we will send you the recording of this. It'll be the whole recording, but you can go to your section.
Thank you, Gail, and thank you for doing everything you did to put this thing together. You are fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks for being a part of it.
Thank you so much. It was my
pleasure.
It was
And hey, Al, thanks for ironing the sheet.
No, you gotta thank my wife for that. Thank my wife.
Thank your wife for that.
She was here in the background. She said, "You need me to iron it?" I said, "Please iron."
Michelle, he put it up. He just built it last night, and he put the sheet up. And Robina was like,
"It's wrinkled."
Yeah.
What do you expect? I got up and I pulled it off the bed this morning and hung it up. So, I mean,
She was over there. What is this business card case's bullet and its wrinkled sheet have in common?
Right. Good thing we had some female eyes on it this morning, Al.
Yes, definitely.
Hey, Amanda, I've got you queued up to be Toastmaster of the Day in a couple of weeks. And I want to challenge you to channel all this experience and learn everything you can from Gail and her what she's been doing is curating. And try being a curator MC when you're Toastmaster. Don't default to the usual Toastmastery crap.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say that. Do what you do. Borrow from what Gail has done to curate, and then see if you can knock the ball out of the park as the curator MC, not as a Toastmaster of the day. It's a perfect learning space for you, having now seen all this come together.
Yeah, definitely. I love that.
Yeah, it's a really good opportunity to see what you can do with that.
Which means that you don't have to put the speakers in the order that Ron has them on the schedule.
You can do anything you
Right.
want to do to shape it as an MC and a curator.
Like that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a challenge to all of us.
Right?
It is, isn't it?
It's a good challenge. It's, you know, I mean, this isn't going anywhere, so we do need to learn how to utilize it. So
Right.
But even how to introduce someone is something you do virtually or in person. Some
Yeah.
of those skills really transfer just about anywhere.
Well, that's why I like Michelle's suggestion so much about the opportunity in this case with the recording to really make a comparison between a very well-crafted close and somebody, we pick one that just wasn't nearly as good, and you'll really be able to see the differences, Amanda.
Any of them?
So some were better than others, but there's that, again, the hardest part is when you go into ad lib, the ego starts thinking it's about us rather than trying to be in service to the audience. And it's a real craft.
Yeah, it's a hard one too, that's for sure.
Yeah, service to the audience, and then also acknowledging the speaker.
Yes.
I mean, you know, you've got that. If anybody's ego needs to be stroked, it needs to be theirs for that second or two or three, and then to the audience, and then you last if you add any on yourself.
Right.
Hey, Chris.
Tie it all together. Hey, Chris.
Chris, Al had a request.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get a little feedback. Anything off the top of your head?
Absolutely. I think my chief piece of feedback for you, Al, is to really emphasize show, don't tell. You have such an engaging presence and such a captivating story that once you simply give us the facts, all of the emotion will naturally blossom out of that. So for example, I'll give you a perfect example. You pulled out your business card or your business card holder, and you told us that the business card holder blocked the bullet. I would have preferred if you had simply showed us and said, I pulled out my business card holder and it had a dent the size of a .22 caliber bullet on it. Do you feel the difference in impact there?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's an emotive impact is what you just did, Chris. There was real emotion behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's just such an emotional story that it really tells itself, and similar to what I told Stephen, you can let these simple facts of the story engage us on their own. I'm trying to think of another example. The other one that really jumped out at me was when you told us you looked down and you saw blood, and you could say, I think there's an opportunity there to really make the audience feel the fear, the terror, the pain. So rather than say, I saw a bunch of blood on my torso, say, I felt this sense of cold. I felt wetness on my legs. I felt a loss of hope. I felt scared. So you have this incredibly unique human experience that most people on the call or most people in the future audience may not have, which is being shot, and really use that as a canvas to paint for us a story of what it feels like to be shot. So don't just tell us you got shot, show us that you got shot.
Hey, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Al,
Yeah.
what if you were to look down, look up, open your shirt and gasp, say nothing, just, right? Because when you gasp, the audience is going to gasp with you, and then instead of to Chris's point about telling, and just dramatize what just happened.
Very good. Thank you, Natanya.
Al, I think you can change some words to almost never mention the phrase blood, but to convey what it is. That when you pulled your hand out and you said it was covered in blood, I pulled my hand out crimson red. And your clothes might be like, not just that there's blood, but they're like soaked, they're drenched, they're, you know, there's some adjectives that you can use to describe what's going on there without even using the term blood that give you a visual of it.
Yeah. You notice I used the 3-piece too. I took your 3-piece suggestion.
That was
and then
good, man.
I did the humor about the car. I put that in there. Then I did the pause before handing back out to Amanda. So I am a little bit coachable. So.
No, I
Well,
agree.
So
Al, I also liked at the end, you repeated that was your friend Renisha? Was that her
Renita,
name?
yeah.
Renita, that you leaned in and you did the gesture. And then when you closed at the end, you repeated the gesture, you reinforced it. So that was a good use of this virtual space here. By repeating the same thing, you're repeating the same message in the same way that you had just done it. It's a good reinforcement.
And I think, Al, maybe use one or the other. I'm a survivor, or I'm here for a purpose, or whatever that was. Together, they got lost. So if you're talking to a group who needs to hear a survival story, maybe I'm a survivor and end with that. Or, you know, I'm still here for a purpose. I think then those, at least people can resonate with one something and instead of trying to figure out which one I need to grab onto and walk away with.
Yeah, I had that feeling, Al, that you had about 3 closes, or at least 2. And I think Natanya's right. You either pick the close as, no, I'm supposed to be here. Bam, done.
Yeah.
Or, and this is the chance to bend it to the audience, is, no, I'm supposed to be here. And that's my message to you, friends. You're supposed to be here. Right? I've now taken the story and taken it to the audience. But you really got to work on that because you could sense you're like trying to wrap up a story and trying to make a message and trying to make it about you, and is like just cut to the chase and either close on you and you're supposed to be here, or close on us.
Actually,
I want to add too that. Oh, go ahead, Rick.
Sorry, if I can piggyback on that real quick, because that was a great idea, Ron. But you could even probably shorten that and say, I'm supposed to be here, and so are you. Yep.
Yeah, right on. Right on.
Yeah. And one other thing that I've noticed, and I noticed this the first time in the practice session, and I haven't heard anybody else mention it, so maybe this is just me, but you put a lot of weight on the anticipation being built by what do these 2 things have in common. But I personally, when you first said it, I'm like, that case blocked the bullet. Like I instantly put that together. And I'm thinking, hearing that I'm not the only one to put that together so quickly. So maybe you don't try to build so much upon that anticipation, because if people are figuring it out, you can kind of address the elephant in the room. And I asked for help from others on how to put this together, but something like, and you may have already figured out how they do, but let me tell you, or let me walk you through what I experienced, or something like that.
And then, Al, when you could start off instead of, so my story began, it was 11:59 in the streets of Chicago, not the place to be, this busy street, a rainy night, right? So cut a lot of the words, get that whole scene out, and just tell us the story and start feeling it. And, you know, just go back and listen to the words, because I think you had a lot of filler words that don't need to be there. You can add the pauses and the drama. One other thing on the it's not as glamorous. You said it twice about the street and about the hospital. And I don't know that they added anything for us to remember.
I was just trying to add a little touch of humor in there somewhere.
Yeah, but the way you made it stand out, in my mind, I'm thinking I need to hold on to this because he's going to tell me something later. And if it doesn't, nothing I need to worry about, maybe that's not the place where, if it's not relevant.
Hey, Stephen, since you're still here, there's something you really did that I was really struck by. You know, all that great humor that Chris called out and those sight gags and stuff, what was embedded in that was our pain point. What made that humor work, Natanya, this clicked when I was thinking about how you made us, how he makes us feel. So you're using humor, but the hook is we're relating because of our pain with that damn bag having to go in a baggie, right? Or having to pick it up. So what I got to thinking was there may be a way to then pull that to the end so that in your close, the value to us is about our pain and suffering in a similar circumstance, even though it's been designed to be funny. And I'm not exactly sure how you pull that off, but it seemed to me that it made it really relatable, and that might be a real powerful way to close it with how we feel, because you've used the humor to set up the drama feeling part. Anyway, it was just something I was thinking about and wanted to say more about, because I was really struck by how well I related to the pain points that were in the humor.
And you know, the same thing can be said for AC's speech. He could have used a number of pain points and parlayed that into humor. So that's very good, Ron.
Yeah.
That's part of that embarrassment or feelings or awkwardness makes for great humor.
Yeah.
At times, you know, AC having to take his whole world and shove it down into 250 square feet, or like Steven saying, I need to take 75 pounds and stuff it into, you know, and then you have, you know, look, I mean, no one wants to meet Buck at the airport security, and there's just an awkwardness there. And somebody, I wish I had the equation written down. I think I have it back home about like tension plus time equals a great story, great humor.
Yeah.
Almost like you're having to take your whole office and shove it into one little corner in your house now.
Yeah.
Play off that. Hey, you guys, don't forget, you can have dual advanced club memberships. You can get them every week.
Oh. Amanda does, right? Yeah.
Just like,
yeah, since 3 of our members were featured tonight and the MC, we have 4 of them. That's our club. Natanya.
Amanda's SRT. I mean, you know, she's a little.
I know. I'm just teasing.
Well, come and visit us for sure. You know?
I think we should do some dual meetings too, because I think there's a lot of value in seeing people who don't normally see you and aren't used to you, but that are advanced. So like, I know Alice, like, oh, Chris, you're somebody new that I trust is going to give me good feedback, because the key to behind good feedback is the person giving the feedback being worthwhile to give it. So I think it'd be really cool if we could, you know, especially on Zoom, maybe do some.
That's a great idea.
Too much ego, though. I got this image of a scene from The Naked Gun where there's like 7 announcers announcing the baseball game. Like there's going to be, you know, awesome. It's going to be awesome, but like awesome to mock in the background for me. So I say let's do it.
It'd be a nice showcase, right? And maybe all of us have a time to rotate and join this meeting where it's a showcase, not a typical meeting, but you're really highlighting what you do. Because even Joker's Wild, I mean, it'd be nice to really see what they offer, and orders too, if we were to go there.
This is just an interesting little trivia note, but I was actually one of the founding members of Speakers Roundtable.
Yeah. Wow.
Way back in the day. Way back.
Wow.
Hell, I didn't know you were 87 years old.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
not
Hey, Al, thank you for starting it from somebody who's only been in it a couple of years.
Right. Come say hi sometime, you know.
Yeah.
Great feedback, you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Al, if you want to see what Amanda's going to do with all this when she pulls it together, she's going to be our MC at Speakers Roundtable on October 27th. She didn't know that because I haven't published it yet, but Amanda, now you know.
Hey, Amanda, remind us, and a group of us will come and watch you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and Roxanne, I see you're still there. Come join us sometime. We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
I've actually been thinking about it, especially after this fabulous workshop. I cannot thank you all enough for all the time that you put into this. It was powerful. People learned so much, both sessions, and I just, from the district, I sincerely appreciate you giving this to us for free. Like Natanya said, you could easily charge for this valuable information, but you guys offered it for free to our members, and we really, really appreciate it.
Well, hey, if you want to visit, our own Chris Bush is the Toastmaster at our next meeting, so that's Tuesday.
Whoa.
And you will get to hear Kelly Vandiver and Nyasha Russell, who spoke. And if you can't make that meeting, if you want to come in for a little post-Columbus Day soiree with Speakers Roundtable, I will be your Toastmaster, probably driving it straight off the rails. And you get to hear from, I believe Ron is scheduled to speak.
Awesome. Chris, I will have to admit that as soon as I heard your voice today, I was like, oh, I love that voice.
Yeah, got a great
So,
voice.
Chris and John, now that you heard all that feedback from Amanda about being an MC and a curator, you have permission to up your games now too.
Permission.
Oh.
We're going to have like intro music and pyro. In 2 weeks.
It'll be a little competition internal between the three of us.
Oh,
I honestly just
it'll
practice.
be like a Billie Eilish concert at my end.
Oh.
I'll just be practicing my racing stuff. So,
Yeah.
So while Ron goes off to tech, let's take a minute of silence to fill in our things here.
Hey, you guys, before we go, I really, 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 really want to say thank you, Gail, because it's not easy to come up with the ideas and take the suggestions. It's not just herding cats. Certainly you pulled us together, but to curate something like this from thought to finish, to finding players, to filling gaps, to including the audience, and then to not have so much ego where you would want to take the spotlight, but you work the back so beautifully. Thank you for being a model for me. And it's nice to call you a colleague and a friend. Great job.
Oh, thank you so much, Natanya. And I have to tell you that Ron is the one who kind of initially helped me with the ideas. Ron and I have this wonderful teamwork thing going on. We sit on Zoom and stuff just falls out of his mouth and I type it up and make it happen. So it's a beautiful friendship, Ron. I love it.
Thank you.
Working on your strengths. Each one of you work on each other's strengths.
Exactly. That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
And if you were hurting cats, I didn't see it. I didn't feel it. I didn't hear it.
That's how good she is. That's how good she is.
I mean, I'm new to all this, so I don't have any other perspective, but I know I didn't experience that, so.
Good.
She's more like a cat whisperer.
There you go. There you go.
I know I got texts like, look, woman, why? I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, never. Yes, of course. Yeah.
For those of you who have watched TED or TEDx, what Gail did is what goes on behind the scenes, all the curation that goes into it. They don't just put 10 speakers on the stage randomly, whatever. There's all this thinking about the flow. When I was going back through, Gail, on the connecting the dots on the overview this morning, what struck me as I looked at it was how well the pieces flowed through, which it was only in retrospect that I could see how well they flowed through, that when we added Natanya's, where Kelly started, what I added, how Natanya added to it, how John built on that, I thought, my God, it was a brilliant job of curation.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I just didn't think it up myself. I mean, we talked through this. Remember, we switched John and Natanya at one point, and I, it was a group effort, and I'm just, honored and humbled to have been the leader of this. But everybody participated in making this what it was. So.
Well, and part of the beauty of the caliber of those who spoke, both first week and second week, is that they were able to tie in what happened prior to them speaking at the meeting.
Yes, exactly.
And that's why, Ron, you couldn't see it ahead. You had to see it in foresight because we didn't know.
Right.
Yeah, it was a brilliant connecting the dots even within the sessions. And,
it really was.
And the speakers doing so much, the trainers and the speakers doing so much audience engagement, which was critical to keeping this a high energy thing all along. I mean, from put your thoughts in chat to, close your eyes, Natanya, and do some emotional. I mean, that's what made it great. It wasn't totally incumbent upon Amanda to do all of that. It was throughout,
And Ron, you know what? Thank you so much. I hope we don't take you for granted because, as Gail mentioned, I didn't realize this whole collaboration, but We know you can do it and stand up front. You've done it time and time again for the district. You do it for us every week at the club meeting. But then to do it and step back and do it behind the scenes so beautifully and allow somebody else to shine, you do that so well. Anything we ask of you, you do. So I want to honor you as well.
Mm-hmm.
My friend, you are one incredible soul, and I hope you continue to your best continues to get better.
Yeah. Let me thank you, and let me share some. My goal for the district is to teach lots of people how to do this, to up our game. And I apologize for saying things like crap sometimes with Toastmastery, but the goal of Toastmasters is not to produce Toastmasters. It is to produce better and better talent in the world. And so seeing what Amanda can do and what Gail MC'd, now she's curated. At some point, Amanda might, well, you may encourage curate is the goal of this is to get more of this incredible value into the district with as many sets of hands as we can get. I mean, you all don't know, but Michelle Hanshy did a bunch of curating on, I think the first one of these we did 5 years ago. So there's like all this knowledge transfer that's going on. So Natanya, that's the end game.
Yeah.
I want to be in that club.
Okay.
You are.
For what it's worth, and this speaks to everyone in SRT, that is the value of SRT for me, is I don't look at it as a Toastmasters club. I look at it as a professional development platform.
Wow.
Truthfully.
That's a real testimony, Rick.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. But
Yeah.
that's beautiful, Rick Master.
Thank you for your part too, Rick and John, today with the Zoom. I think it went as flawlessly as it could.
There were like no glitches.
I know. I know.
If anything, Rick, you showed good humor in being patient with all of us reminding you of things you were trying to do all the while.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, my only issue is that for some reason I kept getting muted.
That was John. That was John.
The mute master. The mute master.
So let me ask this of John and Rick. Rick, was it helpful to have John kind of backing you up?
It was.
Okay.
Because he was able to kind of watch, for example, chat and mute as you were watching chat also.
Yeah.
Especially during those times when I was focusing on a smooth transition with the spotlight, for example.
Yeah.
Because just from a technical perspective, for example, I like to hover over the next person so that that transition from spotlight to spotlight can be as seamless as possible.
Yeah.
And that's when inevitably somebody is in the waiting room. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
Like right at that moment.
Right.
Well, and I'll just heap praise upon myself for this, that if I wasn't here or if I wasn't in this role, like then chaos would have ensued. But just simply my presence prevented all of that from happening. Actually, if working in a technical field, simply having a disaster recovery plan somehow like prevents the disaster from happening.
Yeah.
Totally. You did that with this.
Yeah.
Real quick, Ron, now that you can actually hear me, because apparently my mic went out earlier when you gave me the feedback about the wrap up. I actually attempted to do that. It clearly didn't work very well. But where I was attempting to do it was at the end where I said, sometimes it's not worth taking the shortcuts in life. And I talked about how I could have saved myself the embarrassment of having my belongings taken out, and I could have saved myself the pain of carrying the bag. When I was doing it, that's what I was attempting to do, was kind of drive home this idea of we do this to ourselves sometimes by trying to take shortcuts in life.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, that would, because that then, yeah, Stephen, that properly structured, that brings it home to us. If we go back to Kelly's structure about the new wisdom, and that the biggest benefit is we can take our new wisdom and bend it to the audience.
Yeah.
And so where you just went with that, that's worth tweaking and seeing if you can get that effect.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to the Zoom room. I was going to say, maybe as an organization, we want to start thinking about that Zoom master in two roles. Because if it were live, you'd have a sound people with the board, And then you have ushers to let people in. That's two totally different roles.
Especially in a big format.
Especially, and maybe we say if it's more than 25 people, or, you know, if some kind of threshold, just as guidance, that you really do need 2 people.
Something that we get here that we don't get when we're in person is if you're doing a television production, there's someone talking in your ear. So like Amanda would have an earpiece in and is hearing communications, directions from a producer or a director. And we kind of get that here through chat, that, you know, we have a schedule and Gail's reminding us of things. So it kind of functions in a way when you're in a live, when we're at a conference, it just doesn't quite seem the same.
Right.
Yeah, it's
I
good to have
agree.
that back channel.
And the little hint that I will give people that we know about, but not everybody knows about, is we had a text as a backup and as a way to communicate with each other. You can chat with people one-on-one, but text was our backup. If Stephen had lost his internet connection, he would text, and we were all on a text. It was a group text. It's a huge comfort, and of course there's lots of way to go so and so in the text too, which is great. But
let me just one quick shout out, Roxanne and Michelle, as district leaders. Thanks for giving us the license to run with this.
Yeah.
I know that takes a lot of trust to like just let us go off and do our thing, but it's what we like doing, and so the fact that you all let Gail have as much freedom as you did is a real testament. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Listen,
absolutely.
It's such a delight because I've seen what you guys have done in the past, and giving more of a free license offers the opportunity for us to see new and different and creative ways of presenting, and what a gift that our district has by having this workshop. So as much as you say thanks to us, we bow to the club and say thank you so much.
Cool.
Yeah, and the fact that you utilize so much talent throughout the district, you know, that speaks volumes as well. It's, you know, you promoted SRT, but it wasn't just about SRT. You incorporated other people, and you made it real for everyone. You know, you made it relatable. So many of us, like I said many times, I took so many notes, and I can't wait to share a story.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Roxanne, do the glass slipper story.
I will. I'm actually working on it. I'm thinking I might have to show up in SRT and give it.
Yay.
Well, see, there you go. That would,
Awesome.
Roxanne, that would close the loop beautifully, because then we could introduce you as, you know, the person who's going to bring home what she learned in the workshop.
There you go. That's awesome.
I like it.
And I'm the VP Ed, so if you want to get on the schedule, you just let me know.
I will. Thank you.
I have, fortunately, Natalie mostly gives me lots of license.
Yeah, wonder why.
Well, I want to say that I have enjoyed this after session as much as some of the other aspects, but I've got to go.
Okay.
Well,
fortunately,
it just so you know, Roxanne and Michelle, it's being recorded, so it will be part of the recording.
Yeah.
Which I think is awesome for people to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So be careful what you say.
All these
guys.
nuggets were flying, so I'm like, I am not stopping that recording.
I think that was brilliant. Yeah.
All right. Have a great weekend.
You
Thank
too.
you. I'm gonna sign off to you guys. Thank y'all so much.
Bye, Al.
Bye.
Thank you, Al.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one.
I just do this.
Wow, it's just the three of us now. Great job, guys. Great job. Literally the front end and the back end, and the one that tried to tie it together, which was me. Great job. High fives.
High five.
High
High
five.
10.
High five. Awesome stuff.
I love it. It went very well, and I'm glad that everybody received it so well.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome stuff. Awesome
Yes.
stuff. Go enjoy your day. I'm going to go for a hike, and then I'm going to watch some football.
Gonna go do some marketing.
There you go. All right, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Great job. Have a great
Bye-bye.
day.
Appreciate you guys.
Bye.